Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Whenever it is that you're sitting down to watch this video, thank you very much for doing so, and a warm welcome. My name is Amanda Ellis, and in this video, we're going to have a look at what's happening within the royal family, particularly linked into illness, with last night's announcement that King Charles has now got cancer. This is obviously on top of Princess Catherine, Kate Middleton, being unwell and still out of sight. No new news on her since I did the video on her a few days ago. So this has come completely in out of the blue with regards to King Charles. And I'm going to read on all of the main players within the royal family at this moment in time. So we're going to be having a look at Charles himself, Camilla, Prince William, a quick look again at Kate, although obviously I've done quite a long video on her very recently, and also a look at Harry and Meghan. But really, I suppose this video is also to do with helping us as a community from a violet pill perspective, which is trying to see the higher perspective in all things, to appreciate the teachings that are here for us right now with regards to family dynamics. And there's definitely something that you're going to be able to take out of this video linked into maybe your own family, your own wounding, how you behave in your own family, how you react and respond in your own family. Because taking away the fact whether you like the royal family or you don't like the royal family, but for royal family we could also replace, I suppose, it with some of the political dynasties that we've seen around the world over the last 100 years. So the Kennedys would be one example as well. These big families that are on the world stage, whether they're royal or not, that are in the spotlight for a reason, and that we can often see aspects of ourselves within the relationships, within the problems, within the challenges that arise within them. As Shakespeare said, and I will just quote him here, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. And that, of course, is about all of us. It's also about the different stages of our life as well, in terms of our age and how different things can impact us at different stages of our life. But yeah, it struck me before I really get into the reading of this that I'm asking you to take a look at something like the royal family, for example, whether you know a lot about them, whether you don't know a lot about them, whether it's truth, whether it's not truth, because a lot of what we read, of course, is just speculation, or God forbid, it's actually from a TV series. It's not actually from the actual events that happened. I'm talking about The Crown, which can twist things in a certain way. But taking all that aside, just before we begin, maybe thinking about the British royal family, who you identify with. And what I'm talking about here is you may be or have been at some point in your life, for example, the mistress. You may have been the scorned wife, the hurt wife. You may have been the guilty one, whatever that means. You may have been or are the steadfast one, the dutiful one, or you may be what I would like to say is the pantomime baddie, okay? The one that we all want to throw rotten tomatoes at. So it's just interesting that, because I noticed last night on a few people that had come straight out and done videos on Charles's illness. I was reading some of the comments. I haven't actually watched any of the videos, but I was reading some of the comments, and it seemed as though people were very stuck in the allegiance that they had to a particular player within the family, okay? Remember, Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. So with regards to somebody like Harry coming back home to spend time with his ill father, for me, my first instinct was to go into complete compassion for him as a mother, but also as a daughter myself. If my father was ill, that's exactly what I would want to do. But I could see that many people weren't able to go to that more heart-centered response straight away. There was just suspicion in terms of why is he doing that then? So I'd like, as I say, before we get going, to try to just lift ourselves from this morass that we're in terms of however we view the family itself, however we view the particular players within the family, to try to maybe open our minds a little bit and our hearts a little bit to what they're reflecting with regards to ourselves. And also we'll have a look at them also. Okay, so I also would like to say that I think it's very important that when we are talking and coming on to discuss King Charles's health, I'm not going to be predicting, if death is on the cards. I've already said I don't believe he's going to have a long reign, but I'm not in the business of putting a date on when somebody might die. That's completely and utterly unethical. So there's a difference between saying how long somebody will reign, which could also imply stepping down, to when somebody is actually in a casket. And I just think as a spiritual being, we need to be very careful with how we're approaching this whole thing. And very importantly, of course, just because you get diagnosed with cancer does not mean it is a death sentence. I am very aware that there's many people watching me who either already have cancer and are undergoing treatment or are in recovery from cancer, or who absolutely know somebody who has got cancer, that they might be a member of your family, your friends, your work group, basically. So very important also that we remember that cancer is something that affects 1 in 3, 1 in 2 people, something like that, as we get older. It is very common. It's becoming increasingly common. And I'm not going to get into this tangent on this video, but I would just like to make the point, because I know a lot of people come to my work when I particularly look at the royals to attack me for doing so, because don't you know this, don't you know that? But somebody like Charles, for example, who's now got cancer, the same people that would have the attitude that, well, don't you know that he's already dead and he's been executed, and they would be the first ones to have said a few months ago he would have been one of the people that didn't get the real, he got the saline version, because the elites wouldn't dream of into their body. Then when a few months later he is diagnosed with cancer, as I say, I'm not saying it is caused by that, I'm just going with the thread that some people talk about. It's as though we can change the narrative again to anything we want it to be. So please be very careful with a lot of the theories that are out there at the moment, particularly the very wild ones, because people do twist it to whatever they want it to be to keep the narrative alive. So on this channel, we're just going to try to see the higher perspective of the souls involved without making any excuses for any behaviour that anybody has done along the way. The royal family, very much like other families in the UK, have absolutely got their bad eggs, as we call it, in their midst. There is no excuses for the behaviour of somebody like Prince Andrew, Lord Mountbatten, who I believe was Charles's godfather. There absolutely are people within that family with cases to answer. But in this video, as I say, don't want to get too much into all of that. We're just going to look at the line of succession. We're going to look at the main players. We're going to look at Charles, and we're going to look at the family dynamics. Okay? And we're also going to have compassion for somebody that's on a cancer journey, whether it's you that's watching this video, whether it's somebody you know, or whether it's Charles himself. Because I think whatever you think of Charles, whatever you think of the royal family, again, if you can't have compassion for somebody that's going through a cancer journey, really you are not on a spiritual path, or you're certainly right at the beginning and needing to learn the energy of compassion. So all that being said, let's get to it then. So this announcement with regards to Charles came unexpectedly last night, around about 5 p.m. in the UK. Nobody was expecting it. The focus had very much been, as I say, on Kate, and there are no updates still with regards to her. Charles has come out and tried to be quite transparent with regards to the fact, I'm ill, it is cancer, I'm going to be having treatment, I'm stepping back from my royal duties, don't worry about me, I'm going to be okay. You know, he's trying to put on a brave face. But they've actually given the diagnosis. They haven't actually said what type of cancer it is yet, although it's not. They did say it's not prostate cancer. I suspect that they will reveal what type of cancer it is in the next few days. But he's trying to do the opposite of what his mother did. And again, that is not judging how she behaved towards the end of her life, because she showed another model, the very stoic model of being ill, where nobody knew. I mean, people might have speculated that she had cancer, but she actually was suffering from bone cancer, and that can be a very painful condition. That's what she died of, and then it was announced that she'd had cancer after she died. So she kept it very secret. That was her prerogative. But Charles is wanting to do things in a different way and be a little bit more transparent in terms of, I've got this. And it also is coming to me that he's doing so, and he said this before when he went in for his prostate treatment, that he wants to break down some of the stigma around illness. I also feel there's a very big opportunity here for him to demonstrate bravery and courage with regards to illness. If you actually stop for a moment and think about your own family and your friendship group and your acquaintanceship group, I would think there are very few people watching me that haven't been touched by cancer in some shape or form, or know somebody that is going through it now. So if you think about the royal family as like a figurehead type energy, there is an opportunity here for the ultimate figurehead, the king, to demonstrate what it looks like to be brave when you are diagnosed with something, so that people that are newly diagnosed, that are struggling, can see, well, if he can do it and he can go through with it and all the rest of it, I can too, okay? So I do think there's that aspect to it all. So he's trying to be transparent. Having said that, it brings into stark relief the fact that we still don't know what is the matter with Kate. And the longer it's gone on, as I've said in my previous video, I think there is an aspect of both physical and mental illness there. And my heart really goes out to her, because as somebody myself who's been burnt out a few times in my life, the one thing you need is space and time. And it's the one thing that is being concertinaed for her now, because the pressure now on both her and William to step up is even greater than ever. So we might see her coming back before Easter, but it would be a forced re-entry. And I hope that they give her the space and time that she needs. And that William can just fly solo basically for a little while longer. But anyway, we'll look at those two in a moment. Back to Charles then. The other thing I wanted to mention before we start doing cards is the fact that there's a very poignant quote from him after the Duke of Edinburgh died. I think it was at the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral. And he was supposed to have said to his sons in a private meeting, please, boys, don't make my final years a misery. And that was to do with the warring between the two sons. And as a father, I guess, he feels very caught in the middle of that. Again, whatever you feel about Harry and his actions is for you to have, and you have a right to feel whatever you feel. But from Charles's perspective, I pick up the fact that he will never disown his son, either son, but I'm talking about Harry here. And I feel in Charles's heart there is an energy, there's a forgiveness template. Now, whether that can be allowed to grow and materialise, because forgiveness, of course, implies that the one on the other end of the branch, as it were, is willing to also do a little bit of work. But I do feel that Charles, whatever has been said and done between him and William, I feel as though there's a forgiveness template that could bloom very beautifully between the two of them, given the chance. But again, this comes back to us a lot of the time, because in the video I did about Kate, I was talking about psychic attack upon her, which I stand by. But psychic attack can come in many different forms. And if you're somebody that believes that Harry has behaved dishonourably, let's say, I know there are people that also think he's behaved very honourably, but let's just go with the dishonourable route for a moment. If he's behaved dishonourably, if we're stuck in an energy of wanting to keep attacking him for what we feel is behaviour that is wrong, then how can he ever come to mend the fences, basically? So we also have to give them space for new templates to form within them and for new people to emerge. So again, going back to the violet pill teaching in terms of seeing ourself in them, if you're somebody that can't let it go, that Harry's done this, Harry's done that, or Meghan's done this, Meghan's done that, is that a reflection? And only you can answer this. Is that a reflection somewhere within your family, somewhere within your life, of something that you can't forgive, something that you can't let go of? And then we have the players on the stage that come forward in a family that we don't actually belong to, and we see it played out. And so we hook into that. And they, of course, become the big villain, the big pantomime baddie in the midst, whereas actually the real shadow is within ourself, okay? It's not, again, excusing behaviour. It's just asking you to stretch your mind a little bit to see the reflections that exist within everybody, to be honest, on the world stage and within each other, okay? So as I say, I'm going to remain impartial in this video. I'm not dissing Harry here. I'm just trying to report back that I know some people feel like that, okay? Okay, anything else I want to say before we get to this? So I've talked about how the Queen's approach to illness is going to be very different from Charles's. And, you know, again, going back to Charles, of course, he's been an advocate for decades of homeopathic medicine. He has been somebody that's championed that. He used to be the president, I think, of the Homeopathic Council here in the UK. I don't know if he still is. But he, you know, has gone out on a limb decades ago with regards to the power of homeopathic remedies, with the power of plants, all that type of stuff. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's also going to be weaving some of that type of treatment into the conventional, traditional treatment he's having for cancer as well. And that could be very interesting if once he's through his journey or during it, he chooses to speak up on that. Of course, he's rather tied now in terms of what he can say as a king, because he doesn't have the freedom he had when he was a prince to be able to really speak about issues that matter to him. He's supposed to really butt out of a lot of stuff now because the monarch is supposed to be impartial and not really give opinions. I think he's finding that very difficult, but I think we'd allow him to sneak out an opinion on something like homeopathy, I personally think anyway. So, yeah, there's that. Right. Also, before we move on, let us also just acknowledge there's another member of the royal family going through cancer, which is Fergie. Sarah Ferguson was also diagnosed with skin cancer. She's also had breast cancer recently. That was a few weeks ago. So Charles has got cancer. Kate is ill and missing, you know, from being publicly visible. A lot of people are speculating that Edward has looked unwell for quite a few months. He's certainly lost a lot of weight. That could just be grief. I'm not actually going to look at him in this video, but we send healing to him if he needs it as well. And a lot of people say, my God, what's happening to the royal family? But again, I'd like to actually put that back to us and say, what's happening to the family? Because we're seeing cancer in so many families now at an accelerated rate. And so they're reflecting that in many ways. They are reflecting that. So remember, it's not necessarily about, karmically they deserve it. Not that I would ever say that, but I've seen people saying that, because you wouldn't say that to your aunt or your uncle or your mother or your father or your brother or your sister or your friend if they got cancer, would you? So again, it's as though we need to treat others as we wish to be treated ourselves. And the more of us that can do that, it then starts to ramp its way up into all sections of society, okay? And then the ones we see at the top start to soften as well and demonstrate back the groundswell energy of love and healing that is arising. That's why I talk so much about frequency on this channel, because it's frequencies that will change this world. And it's frequencies that are dismantling many things right now. The royal family, absolutely 100%, will transform and change. And the leading members of the royal family already know that. They know that the old way, the old size of it, the old it's just going to change radically. Charles was here to start that process. William will finish it off. And by finish it off, what I'm talking about is it's going to be unrecognisable within the next 20, 30 years. I know some people feel it's on the way out, time will tell, but the one thing you can say about an institution that survived for 1,200 years here in England, and in England particularly, is never write them off, because ultimately, what we as a species are going through and the royal family are going through as an aspect of the human species is we are transforming. We're transforming. It doesn't necessarily mean, and you take the remnants of the past and you create something new. It doesn't mean that everything just gets completely trashed and taken away and you have no heritage, no history or anything left. Okay. Thank you also to a brilliant comment that came in from one of you yesterday on Instagram. I really think this is such a great Violet Pill comment. You said, "Thank you. I know it's not easy. We will have everything we've ever believed to be true questioned by the end of this. It had to be this way, so it never happens again." Now, they're not just talking about the royal family there. They're talking about the fact that as a public, as a humanity, wherever you are, you're going to have something that you believe in. I hope you do, because if you don't believe in anything, then maybe there's a problem there. But most people have got something they believe in, they've invested in, they like, they appreciate, they're proud of maybe about their country. I don't know, whatever it is. It could be something like a royal family. It could be a political leader. It could be a religion, a belief system. The Pluto in Aquarius energy, the awakening process, will transform everything. So when, not that I'm saying you would, but when you see other people sneering, and you see a lot of this online in terms of, oh, well, you don't still believe in that, do you? Or, oh, you know, haven't you woken up yet to what's really going on there? And there's this sense of one-upmanship that I know it all. Well, that person that knows it all are about to come in for a rude awakening too, because whatever it is that they believe in and that they appreciate, there's also going to be complete earthquakes, is what Metatron is saying, within that. So whether it's your favourite political leader, it's something you've invested in for a long time, and it's meant to be like that. We're meant to question, because if we're going to come to an end of duality, the duality in everything, and there is duality in everything, in every living person, in every institution, in every political party, in everything there is duality. We are going to see the shadow and the light. And ultimately, we will start to see the shadow and the light within ourselves, which is, the main part of it, really. But I said in response to that comment that came in about, by the time this is all over, everybody on this planet will have had something that they held fast to and held true. Their world will have rocked a bit and they'll have been shaken and they'll have had to question it, okay? And I said, well, by the time that happens, we will then start to see each other as brothers and sisters, okay? And it won't be a case of, ha, you're wrong, I'm right. It will be a case of, right, well, I was shocked about that. Yeah, I had to to question my beliefs on that. I didn't realise that, but equally, I still respect that aspect of it. But I see a more balanced perspective now. That's what we're wanting to get to, a more balanced perspective, so we can see the light and dark in all things. Okay, with that being said, we're going to pull some cards now. We'll start with Charles and the deck that I'm going to use for him, and the crystal that I've got for him today is amethyst. Okay, so amethyst for Charles, the violet and purple ray, and I've chosen the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. One thing that struck me yesterday when I personally heard the news of his illness was I felt a profound sadness for him. And what I really mean is the fact that here is a man who has waited his whole lifetime for the job. Okay, for the job. If you reflect it now to you, for the accolade, for the final prize, for the reconciliation maybe with a partner. I'm talking about, think about your own life. What have you been waiting for or waiting on maybe your whole life? And then you get it, and then it's very short-lived. It feels a bit like you wait forever for a partner and then you meet them and then you've only got a couple of years with them. It just, there's like a profound sadness here. Here's a man who's waited his whole life for the crown, and for Camilla to be accepted as Queen Consort, an illness has come in. So there's a card that's just flown out, which is actually light. So we'll put that one up, light, card number 19. I'm going to try and stay on topic in terms of I really would like to try and read these people individually, but I don't know whether it's going to be possible or not. So on this card, that looks very like Harry to me. Does it not you? It looks like it looks really like Harry. It's a red-headed white male looking down at the ground, very dejected, and it says discontent and boredom. And it's the card of light has come in with that. Could this be Harry's moment where he's like, oh my God, it's my father. I do love him. I want to make this right. If you find out that your parent is ill, it's a natural thing to worry, to maybe think the worst in your darkest moments. And it's like, it's a thunderbolt moment. I've got to make this right. I've got to make this right. I've got to make us right, is what I'm hearing. That looks very much like Harry. So that could be that. But anyway, let's try and get to Charles. Let's see how Charles is. I'm just going to ask the question. Let's see how Charles is doing. So we know he's got the cancer diagnosis. I'm recording this on the 6th of February, by the way. The other thing I felt yesterday, and I don't know about you, particularly this is for Brits, but for me, I woke up yesterday before we knew the news, and I felt very raw and I felt very vulnerable, and I very much felt as though time was just slipping away from me. It was because my mother was 78 yesterday, so it was her birthday. That's what got me onto that whole feeling of, you know, she's not always going to be here, and I don't know, it's just it felt a very poignant birthday. And then what happened halfway through her birthday was there was an actor called Ian Lavender that died, who was 77. He was a year younger than my mother. Ian Lavender was the last remaining alive actor of a beautiful series called Dad's Army that we all grew up with. And again, that just felt very poignant. And I wrote on Facebook and Instagram, I said, it feels like a little piece of old England has gone. And I, for one, feel sad about it. And and I also, you said I'd mentioned Lavender in my Kate video, and I had. But anyway, maybe I was linking into Ian Lavender passing. And then, of course, we get the Charles energy. So, it just feels very poignant, this. So let's have a look. Let's see how he's doing. King Charles. What would the cards like to say today? Calling in Archangel Metatron, calling in the energy of Jesus, calling in the energy of Mother Mary, calling in Charles guides as well. We have the energy of harvest, material harvest. And let's see what goes with that. I know his enemies would say, you reap what you sow. But personally, I don't believe in a vindictive God. Sorry, I just don't. There's a thing with Charles as well, which is what's it saying? Those without sin cast the first stone. Okay. So I think there's an energy out there swirling around him, which is like, well, look what you did to Diana, you know? Look how you treated her. You don't deserve to have this happy ever after with Camilla. You reap what you sow. But yet, if you think that how do I express this in a nice way? If you think that, or if you see people thinking that, it's a bit like black magic. It can backfire on you tenfold, because remember, when we project onto another, it's really something about us. So what have we done which we're not proud of in our life? Where have we behaved dishonorably? Where have we cheated, or where have we, I don't know, tried to get away with something, or I don't know what it is. I don't know what your thing is, but there'll be something, because you're a human being. Very few people are totally without flaw. And so do you have a program running in your mind which says, karma's going to come and catch me and get me? Okay, I'm going to end up ill because I did this. Or worst case scenario, are you wishing ill on another? The husband that left you, I hope he goes to hell. You hear people say this. But isn't it God that is the judge? And isn't God a loving God? And if karma exists, yes, it's played out. But it's usually played out in a way that you learn something from it. It's not vindictive in nature. So anyway, let's just pull another card that goes with material harvest. Because the other interpretation of that card is the fact that he has everything he needs to recover. He's got the apple. There's a saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So I feel as though Charles is going to be pumping himself full of the fruit and the vegetables, all the stuff that he grows in Highgrove. He's got the money to afford the best healthcare. Of course he has. He's the King of England. And it feels here as though there's a little vase there that reminds me a bit of something like holy water. So bottom of the deck, we've got suffering in silence. Okay, so I will just take that card. So had he had concerns about this for a while and just hadn't said anything? That's very possible. Oh, I'm just realising it's 2 9 cards. It's a 9-9. So 9s can be the ending of a cycle, but it also can be the start of a new one. So the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. Go back to that harvest card. Can you see the sun is shining very brightly around his head? Oh, and that reminds me. I was shown a crystal that I think links into an energy that he needs to recover. Now I've actually put it in my bra. Hold on, guys. I gotta get the crystal off. Okay, this is the crystal. It's red azechulite. Okay, red azechulite. So Charles has got the sun shining on him. Red azechulite is about, I'm sure it mentions the central sun. It's to do with, provides a wealth of prana, the spiritual life force, enhances the inner qualities of courage, vitality, passion, and strength. It aids with the integration of the highest vibrational frequencies of the spiritual realms into our bodies and into the earth. It energetically supports the blood and the immune system. It's recommended for those wishing to work with subtle energies to strengthen resistance to microbes and viruses. It can act as a sort of spiritual disinfectant, meaning that it shifts one's vibrational pattern in a way that increases the integrity and power of one's individual life force. So it's about cellular transmutation of the body. It's known that DNA emits light, and this helps with the awakening light within self. I'm sure it's also linked into, oh yes it is, it says it's linked in, It's energetically awakened quartz, said to have been activated with the nameless light of the great central sun. Okay, yeah, I'm right. So Himalaya red azechulite I want to give to Charles for his healing. But it also feels with these double nine energies as though this is a huge shift for him. Okay, let's just have one more card for his health. Okay, there's two that have just fallen out there. We have destiny and solar plexus. Destiny and solar plexus. They haven't said what his cancer is at the moment, but obviously solar plexus is linked into the stomach area, the digestive area. There's a lot of yellow in these cards. So it could be linked into that. It might not be. But anyway, I'm going to just crack on with the others and then we'll come back to Charles in a moment because I've got a lot to get through in this video and I don't want it to get too long. Let me just put these cards up here so I can see them. And we're now going to have a look at Camilla and see how she's doing. I know you want me to ask the cards, is he going to be okay? Okay, and I've just put, is he going to be okay? We've got patience on the bottom of the deck. So feels as though it's going to be quite a long journey for him, this, to recover his health. One final card. Charles, is he going to be okay? We've got the card of fertility and power. We've got the waiting game. It's very possible, of course, that he steps down at some point, or Prince William becomes more like a Prince Regent, I think it's called. So takes on more of the responsibilities. Because can you see this card here? That looks like a shape-shifting type energy linked into power. So the king's starting to change. No, not into a reptilian. Into what I'm talking about is it's like a combination of two kings. You get two for the price of one, basically. It's like a combination of William and a combination of Charles ruling together. But yeah, I feel as though, we've got the card of fertility, which you would think would be encouraging, linked into his health, but we've also got a lot of cards here linked into patience and the waiting game. So I just want to say the jury's out. The jury's out. I always said that he would have a short reign. And I stand by that. It might just be that he's forced to step down. At the moment, I'm not seeing his life in danger in the immediate future, that's for sure. And I'm talking here about, months or anything like that. But I'm not seeing the death card or anything like that right now. But as I say, we're almost in a... We've got the card of patience and we've got the waiting game, and ultimately we've got an hourglass. So when the sand runs out of the hourglass, of course it's time up for all of us. And right now you've got somebody here doing the laps, waiting whilst the sands are running low, potentially for King Charles. But as the sands are running low, the person on the racetrack, I assume, is William, limbering up. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing William limbering up on the track, knowing that his time is coming. Okay, let's have a quick look at Camilla. My heart goes out to Camilla because even though many have her as the, the mistress, the one who did what she did to Diana, and again, I'm not going to go there in terms of my own personal opinions, but you cannot deny that these two have loved each other for most of their life. They've loved each other for most of their life. It's a very beautiful love story. I did a twin flame reading linking into Charles and Camilla, and it was very, very powerful. Their love has survived everything, basically. So for her, I have compassion that she's now seeing her man that she loves ill. She looked like a rabbit in the headlights at the coronation. And did you see the bit during the coronation when they were putting the crown onto her and she literally was backing away like that? It's like she... it was interesting body language. It was as though she wanted it, but she didn't want it, or she didn't feel worthy of it, or... I did see a documentary. I think her sister was saying, no, it wasn't about any of that. It was to do with, I don't know, her eyesight or somebody treading on a train. I can't remember what they said now, but it was very, she looked very uncomfortable throughout the whole ceremony, almost as though I wanted it, but now I've got it. Do I really want it? Type energy. There was that could be quite an interesting reading on its own, just having a look back at that. But anyway, let's look at today. How's she doing today? So Camilla. I think Charles is known to call her his rock. And she will continue to be that, I'm sure. Camilla, how's she doing? Okay, very private, keeping things very close to her chest. Putting on a brave front, I'm hearing. We've got the light of the world. Is she religious? I don't know whether she is particularly religious. I've never seen her as particularly religious, but maybe for her she's turning to her faith a little bit, or what she grew up with. I'm sure she did grow up with, I mean, she goes to church. She has to go to church as a member of the royal family, but the light of the world to me is Jesus. So it's as though Jesus is knocking on the door. And what I mean by that is he he knocks on your door, he knocks on my door, he knocks on our heart, and he says, do you need comfort? Do you need comfort? She's also got Archangel Michael, which is protection and strength. And she's got reflection. This is an interesting card. She's also got the War of the Roses. Now, the War of the Roses was a war between Yorkshire and Lancashire, and God knows how many years ago. But anyway, I don't know. It feels like she had a role in that. She's got a past life linked into that, which again would be interesting to explore, but I'm not going to go on a tangent with that today. So, but War of the Roses also can be like, it feels like she's always been in a war within this family. She's always been on the outside looking in. Now she's right in the middle of it, at the top of it. And doesn't know what to do, I don't think. Yes, it is her, because you see, look at that. On this card, I don't know if you can see it, but there's two palaces. There's a palace there, there's a palace there. Because Charles and Camilla always historically lived in different places. I don't know whether they still do, but Charles always liked his own space. She liked her own space. But they made it work. But this is going to be pretty tricky for her to navigate. Let me just go to a traditional tarot deck. And just pull a couple of cards for Camilla as well. So yeah, deep reflection. How is Camilla doing? I mean, she's not a spring chicken herself either. She's got the Five of Swords, victory at all costs. She has an energy about her of, I'll show them, you know? It's, I was going to say making it work, and then we've got the Seven of Pentacles. She's determined to make it work. She knows that there's a portion of the world that are against them. There's a portion of the world that's always been against her and always will be. But there's this sort of, like, I'll show them type energy. But anyway, the cards I've got here are more just turning to help, Archangel Michael, Jesus, reflecting, right, we're going into battle again, are we? Type energy, we're going into battle again. This time it's Charles's illness. She's compartmentalised her feelings. Her feelings are sort of over here. She obviously loves him, but she's in battle mode. She's going into battle mode. And this time the battle isn't another family member or the public that won't accept her. The battle is with the disease that her man that she loves has got. Yeah, two worlds. They've lived very much in two worlds, these two. But this is a time for them to come together in an even deeper way. Okay, let's pull some cards now for William. I want to do William. I've chosen the Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle for William, and the crystal he's got is rose quartz. Now, in my Kate video that I did, I said that I felt that Kate and William were having marital troubles, and it was looking pretty serious. Now, if that is true, it's going to be very difficult for them to separate or announce they've got issues in their marriage right now. It'll be a case of putting that to one side and having to come back together. There was a saying that came to me, which is not my saying, somebody said this, linked into hard times create strong men. Because again, whether you like William or not, he's lost his mother at an early age. He lost his grandmother last year, who was very close to. He's estranged from his brother. He's obviously got an unwell wife. We don't know what's going on there, but it's certainly very difficult. He's got 3 children, and he's estranged from his brother, who Princess Diana always intended to be his wingman. That's what Diana called Harry. Harry would be William's wingman, but of course he doesn't have that wingman now. We've got Start Anew and Begin Again, which is a nice card to get for him. Put the past behind you. Rebirth the earth, it says. Start anew and begin again. I feel as though the old version of the monarchy are it's crashing down. It came crashing down when the Queen died. You know, it was never going to be the same again. Charles, bless him, has been a bit of a stopgap. I'm sorry, but that is what I feel. And it will be to William to rebirth, start again, and begin again. And what William does with the crown, you know, this is a female here, but, you know, it's depicting him, the crown that he's holding. What William does with the crown will determine whether it survives into the next century or not. It's interesting that in this depiction, the figure is standing in an oyster shell. Oh, it's a pearl. Okay. So of course, that goes with what I've just said. Hard times create strong men. Because the pearl is forged from adversity and challenge. He has got a lot of weight on his shoulders. It's even heavier than it was last week when I read on him, but he has an energy within him of being able to renew. So that we get that card for him. I'm going to pull another 2 cards from this deck, and then I will also use the traditional tarot. So Prince William, show me the energy around him at this time. So we've got him limbering up on the track, basically, because whether his dad survives, hopefully he does, whether he doesn't, whether he steps down, whether he doesn't, William knows this throne is coming closer and closer every month, okay? And he has to get himself mentally prepared for it, physically prepared for it. He has to get his ducks in a row. We have the energy of explore other realms. The voyage of Maelduin. Now, I've no idea what that means, so I'm going to look it up. There's an eagle there. You see the eagle? Let's just read the card, then I'll put the card up again. I found it. Okay, ready? I'm interested to see what this is. It says, where you are, remember this is William, where you are is exactly where you should be. Do not look for an outcome, but at the wisdom gained on your journey. This ancient tale was written down at an extraordinary time in history when the belief systems of Druid and Christian created a curious literary mix. This overlapping of cultures illuminated the Dark Ages with spiritual voyages of transformation. Heroes and monks drifted off in the symbolic boat, guided by the gods of their faith. This was called the Imran, or journey of initiation. For Maelduin, it started out with the lower vibration of revenge and ended up with illumination and peacemaking. Through a series of tests and trials on various mysterious islands. The Celtic symbol of the apple branch represents travel to the other world, and the bird's a spirit. This is the classic hero's journey, the going and the returning of the hero or heroine, and their attainment of spiritual transformation, which would add to the wisdom and evolution of their culture. Oh wow, I so hope that's true. I so hope that he can do that. the hero's journey in William. And absolutely, the tests are huge. The voyage that he's on is magnificent, actually. And I love that last line, that the potential attainment of spiritual transformation would add to the wisdom and the evolution of their culture. So what he does, how he behaves, impacts impacts the whole culture, the whole country, not just him. How amazing is that? Wow, okay. And we've got on the bottom of the deck, I'm going to take that one, we've got visualize healing, and it says the burning of sage. The burning of sage. So very much like I said for Kate, he needs to be saging his palace. He needs to be saging his surroundings. I mean, in all seriousness, sage is a very powerful herb that obviously helps to transmute. And so then we can receive the healing. So he's got sage coming forward around him. And so sage is being sent to him. Rose quartz is being sent to him. And he's on the hero's journey. Wow, okay, they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I sort of want to stop there. Let's go now to Kate. I'm not going to do too much on Kate because, as I say, did a big long video on her. Gosh, I nearly set my sleeve alight then. That was a bit stupid. I didn't. Phew, okay. That was all about. Kate Middleton. This is the same deck I used for her last reading. It is the Witch's Tarot, I think it's called. The stones that I chose for Kate were the green stones. Could have been any green stone. But in addition to any green crystal, I also chose bloodstone for her. So bloodstone has specific uses linked into healing. That may or may not be linked into the journey she's on at the moment. Which can be very much linked into gynecological issues as well. Right, let's just see, how is she doing right now post this announcement of Charles? I can't imagine it's helping her recovery. It's as though the walls are closing in even more. The pressure to step up, the pressure to reappear with a grin on her face, the pressure to say it's okay, and she's not feeling okay. The Ten of Pentacles just leapt out. I'll show you that in a moment. That's a good card. But let's see, how's she feeling? Now let me just read the Ten of Pentacles. The card is very small. You might not be able to see it, so apologies if you can't. But it shows a lady and a man. It shows like a family setting, basically. There's a dog there. It's all looking quite idyllic. But then we've got this figure turning up out of the blue, which feels like a courtier. Who's sort of like, have you heard the news, ma'am? You know, and it's almost as though that courtier is almost itching to get his appointment book out in terms of, you know, can we schedule you back into the diary? You know, your country needs you type energy. Whereas she's actually, you know, just there with her family, not necessarily having a picnic because I still think she's pretty ill. But that's where she wants to be right now. She just wants to be with her children. Do they have a dog? I don't know whether they do have a dog or not. But anyway, animals are around this lady. And she's just receiving, more than anything, this card to me is she's receiving what she needs. There's an apple. There's an apple with regards to that basket. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. There's a tonic there in the basket. She is in the green surroundings I saw her in last video. She's in a grounded place, but who's this bod, you know, turning up in his purple, you know, she's like, I'm sorry to interrupt this moment of healing and recovery, but you're sort of needed out here. It doesn't look like she's listening to him, to be perfectly honest, but let's just pull a few more cards. Kate, show me the energy of Kate, please. Post this news of Charles. She loves Charles, I have to say. She does love Charles. There is a definite bond there. And as I say that, she's got the Hermit card, which mirrors the Hermit card that Charles had. So both Charles and Kate have got the Hermit card. This is really having to dig very deep to find the light, to be guided. The Ace of Wands is on the bottom of the deck, which is rather nice, which is showing a female hand and fire, which eventually is able to find that. It's able to find that fire. And it does so for the Emperor, okay? The Emperor here is to do with stability. It's to do with maintaining order, you know? Not that there's going to be riots on the street or anything like that, but it's like law and order, security, stability. It's what people know. In Britain, it's what we know. The royal family is what we know. It's as though this could even be, I'm going to come out of my seclusion. I'm going to, you know, that's a female hand. I'm going to pick up the flame, and I'm going to go out into the night, even though the night feels scary and it's dark and I don't know whether I'm ready, but I'm going to somehow find that inner strength. And look at that. She's dressed head to toe in green, just as I said last video. This hermit, she's dressed head to toe in green. We've got Temperance on the bottom of the deck as well, which is balance. Didn't Charles have that as well? I think he had that one as well. They're in very similar places, the two of them. She knows that she knows that she can't really rush back. She sort of wants to, but she can't. She has to take it slowly. Okay, one final card for Kate. We've got Death, and we've got the High Priestess, we've got the Empress. Okay, there is one interpretation which I'm not going to say, because I don't want to go there. I don't want to put that energy out here. It's all pretty obvious. Death, High Priestess, Empress. Could be read that way. But I'd like to give another interpretation. Don't forget, the transformation process that she's going through necessitates death. And I'm talking here metaphysical death, the death of the old. Ideally, it needs to be done in private, in seclusion. The Empress needs that. But the other thing I'm feeling is that this death of the Empress and the High Priestess, this could be linked into, I think her problems might have started around the death of the Queen. I mean, she's had long-term problems, I think. The mental health problems are long-term. I'm not going to go back into that in this video. But it could be that the death of the Empress, the Queen, necessitated, it brought to the fore the issues that Kate has right now. Yeah, because we've got the Fool upside down. And then the Three of Swords, and then the Moon. There's something very strange going on with Kate, but if that's one interpretation, it is one interpretation. The death of the Queen created, I keep saying necessitated, it created this feeling of, I can't do it. I can't do what is expected of me. Three of Swords. We've got the Moon and we've got the High Priestess again. Same cards as last time. I'm going to move on from Kate because the reading isn't really about her. When we have news on her, I will come back to it. But right now, I'm just going to send her love. What energy does she need right now? We've got the Eight of Cups. And we've got the Eight of Swords. She needs to step up right now like a hole in the head, basically. You know, she just needs space and time and healing. I just don't know whether she's going to get it. And I don't think that's going to come from pressure from William. I think it's just pressure of it's the destined path. But anyway, let's just pull one card in terms of how does William feel about Kate right now. Because I didn't do that in the last video. I forgot to do it. Let's just do that now. Now let's go back to... shall I use the other deck or shall I use this one? No, I'll use this one. After Tarot. How does William feel about Kate at this time? We've got Strength. And we've got Emperor. I can only be the strong Emperor, the strong Queen with you here. But we've got the Lovers, which is the card of choice. And we've got the Ten of Wands, which is hard work, it's a burden. Nine of Swords, he's very worried about her. Six of Pentacles. As I said in my last video, she's been giving too much. The balance is all off. He's hoping for the fresh start, the Ace of Wands. Hanged Man. William is very uncertain in terms of how things are going with her, and worried about her. He would like her to be his... What did the Queen call Prince Philip? Her strength and stay or something like that. It was, this is what the Queen said about Prince Philip, her husband. He has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years, and I and his whole family and this and many other countries owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know. She spoke those words on their golden wedding anniversary in 1997, my strength and stay. Ideally, that's what William wishes Kate to be for him. But there's big problems, big problems. Okay, let's have a little look at Harry. Harry's cards have got clear quartz and some turquoise on them. Those are the stones I chose for him. Prince Harry, I send him love. And I hope that this can be an opportunity for him to heal the fractures within his family. Because blood is blood. They're his family. Let's see how he's doing today. So he's flying in from LA, solo. We've got that card that's just come out, which is the Two of Tides. That was the card I got for him last night. I pulled some cards off camera for Harry and I got that card last night. And straight away I knew what it meant. It's wolves, but wolves run in a pack. Wolves are about protection. It's as though when it cuts to the chase, he comes back to his pack. Yeah? He's part of the pack. He's part of the family. The Ace of Swords. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Two of Tides is also the Two of Cups, which is a card of love. And in this particular card, it looks like there's an older wolf and a younger wolf. The older wolf would be the king. The younger wolf would be Harry. He's got a bit of a sense of grandiose, has good old Harry. So it's a bit like a Batman script. It's a bit like here I'm flying in like some superhero character. That's a light-hearted comment, but I do feel that a little bit, coming in to save the day. Yes, I know some people think he's going to become the king and not William. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the more likely timeline is that he may have a moment of revelation. This could be it. But to be honest, if this isn't it, it's never going to be it, unless Charles actually does die. And then that could be it again. But this is a big moment for him to come to his senses in terms of, actually, I do love my father. Despite what you've done or haven't done, I love you. I love my family. A moment of truth. And it could be, then we go back to a timeline, which is the one Diana always saw, which was William and Harry not ruling together, but Harry definitely being wingman, being somebody who almost is the strength and stay to William. If Kate was not there for whatever reason, Harry somehow being a support, whether it's seen or unseen. But I know it's a huge jump to go there right now because they're nowhere near that. Let's just pull one more card for Harry, and then I'll ask him about how he feels about William. We've got the Six of Fire and the Seven of Tides. I don't like those two cards together, because this is my card. Those of you that follow me a lot, you know what that card means, don't you? This is playing to an audience. And I realise what I'm saying. Playing to an audience. Is it the Netflix audience? And you see the Seven of Cups is the card of potential, well, you don't know how he's going to be on any one day. Is he going to come in as the loving son and the brother in arms, as it were? Or has he got an ulterior motive? Which one of those objects has he picked up? Is it the pearl through which he can appreciate that the challenges and the difficulties they've had, which probably go two-way, can make them stronger? They can pull the pearl from the clam. Or is he going to pick up the snake and the gold? You know, let's hope he aims high and his intentions are honourable. But that Six of... It was a funny deck, this, because, you know, I chose the decks for them all last night and laid them all out. And this one felt as a strange deck to choose for Harry, but it was like Spirit were like, no, that's the right one. So, Six of Fire as well. I always say this, but look, she's playing the violin. It's like playing the violin, playing the victim card. Let's hope not. How does he feel about his father right now? They're contradictory cards, to be honest. But maybe he's got a contradictory personality. Maybe it is a bit split. On one hand, he loves his father. On the other hand, he wants to play to the audience. And we've got the Six of Wands, the Six of Swords there. That again is about, oh God, sorry, flying in. Six of Swords is moving away. You see, he moved away from the UK to America, but this time he's coming back the other way. He's moving, today I'm talking about, he's moving from LA back to here. He's moving away. Those cards just fell out. I wasn't actually shuffling, so I'm not sure whether they're right or not. There is the World card there. I'll have to tell you what they are now, because they did fall out. The World card, which is the end of a cycle, the end of a chapter of his life. The Seven of Fire, which is very graphic, which is literally like, it shows a man being burnt at the stake. I feel as though there's an expression, something like hell will have to freeze over before I do whatever. I think that's always been, I think he's had that sort of energy within him. But I feel as though there's an energy now which is more like jumping through the fire for his father. I do think there's an aspect of him where it's very genuine, and he wants to come back, even though he knows there's going to be a huge part of certainly the British population that unfortunately want to, well, hopefully not physically do that to him, but certainly have him as the villain, okay? Stranger of Winds we've got as well. I don't really know what that one means. That would be the page. Oh, that's the Page of Swords, I think, in a traditional deck. So that's just him coming in with his truth. Nine of Swords. He's worried. And he feels vulnerable. Coming back in, vulnerable, because he knows he could walk into that. But I don't think he's going to. I don't think he will. Remember the forgiveness template that I was talking about at the start of all this? Wouldn't it be beautiful if him and Charles could bring through some energy together of reconciliation? It's almost like the return of the prodigal son type energy, you know? I think it'd be beautiful. We've got the Hierophant and the Fool. So I don't know, but let's give him the benefit of the chance. And at the end of the day, he is a son who is concerned about his father. There are some slightly underhand energies there with that Seven of Cups, but let's hope that's not the dominant energy in town, because there's also some very good cards there as well. Two of Fire, final card for him, and the Chariot. He's definitely moving away. this is the card of somebody who's needing to move to safer ground. It's on fire up here. He's surveying the scene. It could also just be he knows that his family needs him. He knows that the fire representing turmoil, and he's cautious because he has to cross the red bridge to get up here to help. But the Chariot implies he will do what it takes at this time. I think we're going to see another side of Harry, which will be lovely. Okay, let's have a little look at Meghan. Not going to spend too long on this because she's not the central character at this moment. It's more going back into the energy of Charles. But let's just see how she's doing, how she's feeling with regards to all of this. So Harry having left to go and see his dad. How is Meghan feeling back in LA? Meghan Markle. Okay, before I even pull the cards, I don't think you're ever going to hear her say this, and she's not going to show it, but underneath it all, it's bringing up some shadow wounds with her because Harry is crossing the ocean to go and see his own father who's ill. Meghan has got an ill father just up the road who she refuses to go and see. Whoever's right, whoever's wrong with regard to that, we're talking family dynamics. She can't bring herself to go and see her own father, and she's seeing her husband fly across the world to go to his. So I'm feeling like an energy of squirming. She's squirming a little bit with it. It's like making her feel a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, King of Swords. Because there's a truth there to what I've just said and to how she's feeling. The truth is, she is alienated from her father, who was the man that brought her up and loved her. And she's not gonna go there. It's like pride. Yeah, Four of Cups. I am sitting still and I will not move. I'm secure where I am. But anyway, that's about her father. Let's just see anything else. So, I mean, maybe that's what the message is. It's bringing up wounding with regard to her father. Having said that, we've got the energy of the Hanged Man. So remember, we should always aspire and hope that people can heal their wounding. So maybe this is an opportunity for her to think, hold on, if Harry can go all the way over there, why can't I just take a trip up the road to go and see my father? Because ultimately, Six of Pentacles, there was a time when we gave and received to each other. He gave a lot up for her. He gave a lot to her in her childhood. Two of Swords, this could be a crossroads moment for her with regard to her dad. This is the Dove of Peace. Dove of Peace. Is it too late? Are we at a crossroads? We've also got the card of Strength. Having said that, isn't there a court case about to happen with her sister? I assume her father's caught up in that, so it's not a great time. But then again, maybe it's the perfect time. Maybe it's the perfect time, just before it really goes to court and all starts to get very unpleasant and all the dirty laundry is aired in public. Maybe if I was advising Meghan now, I'd say pick up the phone to your dad. Follow Harry's example. Go and visit your father. It is not too late. There's an energy here if it's not too late. If it's not too late for Harry, it's not too late for you. And actually, if you could then come back together as a couple with having healed the father wound, or at least started the journey to healing the father wound through communication, physically seeing them, hearing what they have to say, you being able to say what you have to say in private, no cameras. Then you come back together and you share your experiences. That would do your relationship the world of good. The world of good. You'd be on surer footing if you could do that. How does she feel about King Charles right now? Because we may have forgotten that King Charles was the one who walked Meghan Markle down the aisle. He walked her down the aisle because her own father wasn't there. And we've got the Nine of Wands. How she feels about Charles. Let's see what else goes with the Nine of Wands. So that's a lot of energy coming in. A lot of energy coming in. Ace of Pentacles is the money card. Nine of Wands with the Ace of Pentacles. And the Nine of Cups, the Wish. Double nine like Charles had, but different cards. The Wish. I don't really want to say this, but I have to just interpret the cards the way it's obvious what they mean. Nine of Cups is the wish. Nine of Wands is the energy for the wish to manifest. What is at the end of the wish? Money. Ace of Pentacles. Is this an opportunity to make money? I mean, come on, dear. If that's all you're interested in, it's never going to bring you happiness. Let's hope that she's better than that. But anyway, there's money. Money. Okay. I'm going hoarse. How long have I been speaking for? Well done for watching it all. Thank you very much. An hour and 15 minutes. I will just pull a couple of final cards. Let's have a couple of cards on the overall energy right now for the royal family themselves. Because as I say... let's do one more card for Charles. Let's go back to Charles. So King Charles... this is another deck I haven't used yet. I can't remember what it is. I'll put them all below. Quantum Oracle. Two final cards for King Charles. This deck. What is there to say with regards to King Charles? We have victim mentality. So right now despite what he's saying, and it's okay that he feels like that. He's feeling a bit sorry for himself. And it's linked into the time having run out. There's another hourglass there. We had another card for him that showed an hourglass with the sands of time running out. We've got another card from a different deck which also has got an hourglass with the sands of time running out. That's why he's feeling sorry for himself. Because he's chained. It's like there's so much I want to do. And on top of the sands of time, there is a pile of books. I've got things that I can give to this role. I've got things that I want to do. There's things that I've learned. There's wisdom that I've acquired over my whole lifetime of studying, of being the prince. I've got a lot to give, but I can't because the time is running out. The water's rushing in. Oh, bless him. That's horrible energy to be in, but it's understandable maybe when you've just been diagnosed. And apparently this was only diagnosed a couple of days ago. But we do have the card of discovery, which is finding the gold within. So finding making the best of this situation. This victim mentality will go. And we've got the card of commitment. I signed a commitment to the people that I will be there. And there's also a card of new supportive connections coming in as well for him. So he's going to be surrounded by some obviously good people. But this is also linked into, it's also life contract. I signed this contract. I've played the game. Let's go back to Shakespeare. I've played my role on the world stage as well as I possibly could with what I've, was signed up to do. I just wish I had more time. But again, I like the fact that we've also got the card of discovery here, gold mine. That's linked into his inner strength. He's going to find out he's stronger than he thinks he is. He can endure more than he thinks he can. That the gold might be, I'd love this to be the case, but I feel as I want to say, the gold could be that out of this my sons who are warring come back together. That could be the gold that is discovered. That through this, breakthrough can happen. Or through this, William becomes the man that I always knew he could be. Whatever he's been doing, if he's been, fumbling around a bit in the dark. I realise what I've just said there, but I'm talking symbolically, really. Come to your senses. Come on, you're the king in waiting. It's time to get ready. You've got to rise to this occasion. You've got to go through the hero's journey. So let's do one final card then. Final question. Then I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee and a walk. So final message from Spirit with regards to royal family. We've got professional assistance. So yeah, this is just all the doctors and the best people on board coming to be of professional assistance. But I also think this links to the Akashic, because it reminds me of the Akashic library. It's as though there is wisdom in terms of how to deal with this, how to deal with illness, how to persevere. You know, he had his mother's example at the end of the day, who lived for a very long life and who persevered through the wars and everything else. We can get through these times. So it's just like dip into the Akashic, Charles, dip into that library. There's more support than you realise there is. And there's something here about books. I think he loves books anyway. We've had books now in quite a few of the cards for him. It's almost like, go back to your books. It's as though there might be a remedy in the books. There's something in the books. There's something that you know, almost as though challenge the doctors a little bit as well sometimes. If they say this, but you're thinking something else, trust your gut, because I also feel he's here to model the complementary therapies working alongside the traditional remedies as well. Whether he would be allowed to say that as king, I do not know, but I feel that's coming in too. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. So obviously we've done a couple of videos now on the royals. Next video, God willing that nothing else breaks in the next 24 hours, because I'd quite like a break myself. We're going to try and change the energy. We've got a Chinese New Year kicking off this weekend, the dragon. So I want to do something on that, dragon power. I've also promised you a video looking at spirituality and autism, and I've got a strong feeling that a video linked into spiritual warfare and what we can do to help ourselves would be very useful at this time as well. But other subjects, you're very welcome to put them below. I can't necessarily get to them all, but I always do read your comments, and if there's a thread coming up, lots of people asking for the same thing, I do try and do it. Obviously, remember, I'm on YouTube. There are some things I can't cover on here. But the autism thing, Tracy said, she said, my God, you've had about 3 or 4 emails in all about autism on 2 days running. So I know that spirit's saying, look at it. There's something we want to say through you with regards to that. And then, of course, as a community, we can share our experiences. But a final thing I'd like to say is, let's remember all these characters on the world stage. Let's take it now to your family. Who do you need to forgive? Who on their deathbed would you be racing to see to say something that you maybe should have already said or you'd like to say because you don't want to bring it forward into another lifetime, okay? Or where are the fractures? Where are the splits? Where is the illness within your family? Are the people within your family who are ill, who need your time and your attention? The project, yes, it's important, but actually so is visiting your dad or visiting your mum or whatever it is is needed. Time waits for no man. This card, the waiting game. But really, time waits for no one. What are we waiting for? Let's be what we came to be and grow and evolve. And if this family can grow and evolve and heal fractures and show new pathways to understanding and new templates, brilliant. Okay. Lots of love, everybody. Thank you very much. Goodbye for now. Bye.